Hi, so in this week's lab, we were supposed to create two microservices and make them talk to each other by sending a request from the first microservice to the second microservice. So this is the second microservice, inventory service, and this is the first microservice, which is called product service. So in product service, I have the endpoint detailed here, and to call the second microservice, we have created an interface which will help us make contact with the second microservice. And in here we can see that the first microservice is in port 8081 and the second microservice is in port 8082. So over here in the interface, we are letting this service know that we would want to make contact with port 8082, and we're also calling the endpoint here product. And what will happen is this product will generate the product details, the product ID, product email, and product ID, product name, and product price. And then it will be sent over to the other microservice, and the other microservice should come up with a message that would identify the product ID, and it would state their location as well, the product location. Now, if we run both the services, that the first microservice has started on port 8081 and the second microservice has started on port 8082. Now we want to open up Talent and see if it is working. As you can see here, I've called the endpoint that I've stated here in product controller. This endpoint will have to call. So I've called it here in port 8081 product and inventory. So if I give it an ID and the name of the product and price, right, send it there, then has been successful. And as you can see here, it is giving us the product ID from product inventory service, and that it is located in Galway. So that's how we can make sure that both the microservices are connecting and contacting with each other. And then the next step was to Dockerize both the microservices and then containerize it as well. Now for the next step, I've created two Docker files for both services, and a Docker compose file for the first microservice. As you can see here, we have the Docker compose file here and the Docker file over here. So for the Docker file, I have declared the port 8081 for this service, and for the second microservice I declared port 8082. And as you can see here, I've added the jar file that we got over here. I've just copied and pasted the jar file over here, and for this microservice I did the same thing here as well, so copied and pasted the jar file over here. And as for the Docker compose file, I've declared both the services, and I've added their ports here as well. So for product service it's 8081, for inventory service it's 8082. So I've also I've also configured the Docker file here. If you can see the first microservice, the image tag would be product app, which I declared over here in the Docker compose file. And for inventory service was inventory app, the image tag. So we will find that over here. The image tag is inventory app, and the binding port's 8082. And for this one, the binding port should be 8081. Right, so I'll run both the Docker files, and yeah. Both the Docker files now. You can see here, both the Docker file has been successful. And now what I want to do is I need to run the Docker compose file to containerize both the services. Give it a minute. Now, yeah, so we can see that both the services has been containerized. And if I try to have a look at the Docker desktop here, as you can see product service, it has containerized product service and inventory service, both of them. So I can say that we have used Docker, and by using Docker, we've containerized both the microservices. So yeah, that's it for this week's lab. Thank you very much.